This review of Mega Man 04 may contain spoilers and coarse language. I would also recommend you check out the previous 3 parts before looking at this one. Well shit, talk about dashed hopes, huh? So in all fairness, 04, it's a step down, a somewhat massive one too. While some good things are here, some bad things are back, and some other things that are extremely dumb and unnecessary. Well, let's go over what 04 did, starting with the story. Taking place in unknown time after 03, Zero forgot that Vile was still in charge of Neo Arcadia, so now humans and Reploids are super oppressed. One such group of humans escapes and Zero saves them, introducing us to Neige, a journalist that doesn't really listen to facts just like the ones in the United States. Anyway, humans that escaped Neo Arcadia created a place called Area Zero, where humans can live because nature has regrown. But Dr. Vile was fucking pissed! He wanted all of humanity under his control, so he sends his A9 Harrier and their leader, Kraft, to go kill them. Halfway through, Area Zero gets attacked and Zero has to put out the fires and fight Kraft, who kidnaps Neige. Turns out Neige and Kraft were fuck buddies this entire time, and Kraft sided with Vile just so he wouldn't have to kill more people. What a fucking idiot! With that, Neige and Zero escape, and Zero decides to fight the rest of the 8 fuckboys, with Vile finally releasing his ultimate plan, Ragnarok. A space colony that can fire projectiles at the planet and destroy parts of it, and he was going to get rid of all the nature in Area Zero. But it turns out that Kraft is now in control of Ragnarok, and so because of that, Zero has to go to Ragnarok to stop Kraft from firing that beam in general. Realizing the error in his ways, he fires at Neo Arcadia, killing Reploids and people. Then Zero decides to kill him, but then Ragnarok fires another shot, but shouldn't Dr. Vile be dead? Due to some crazy signal jamming, Zero can't make it back to Ragnarok, so he has to go through the ruins of Neo Arcadia. Surprising literally nobody, it was Dr. Vile the whole time, and as Ragnarok crashes into Earth, Zero decides to fight him so he can destroy the core, and then Ragnarok will be blown to pieces and blow up in the Earth's atmosphere. But it seems like Zero didn't make it. Well, hopefully he probably survived. Oh. Well, kinda. So overall, this plot was pretty good. A bittersweet ending was a nice touch, along with Zero keeping his tune that he had in 03. Neige and Kraft were also really fun characters, and I'm glad they were on this crazy ride. Dr. Vile had a pretty good revenge plot as well, and overall was some good shit. But with 04, the disappointment isn't in the story, it's in the gameplay. So this time around, Zero has just 3 weapons on him. The shield boomerang and any rod weapon is absent, instead replaced with the Zero Knuckle, which can go Zero Fuckle itself. The whole gimmick is that you can grab enemy weapons and use them against them. Most of the weapons are uninteresting and they're only there for boss weaknesses, which I'll come back to. Like, oh wow, it's a Buster, but it fires at enemies. Wow, cool. There's also some gimmicky stuff like pulling keys out of the wall and pulling vines that's faster with the Zero Knuckle, just because. God, you know, I just can't think of any way to cut through vines really fucking quickly. There's something that's not nearly as gimmicky, which is Zero's ability to hang on to poles. This, while not really related to the Zero Knuckle, leads to some fun level design I'll talk about later. Other things like chips and cyber elves are absent. Elemental chips are gone, and the only way to do elemental damage is to use an EX skill. Unless you want to carry an enemy's weapon all the way through the stage with you, which, no, you don't. You can, however, craft head, body, and foot chips, but I'll get to that soon. I dislike the change in chips because now I have to use EX skills in order to do elemental damage. This is also exacerbated way harder when there's some bosses that are almost impossible to hit with EX skills. Mino Magnus and Soul Titanium come to mind with this, especially because for some reason the Thunder EX skill shot doesn't work on her. Cyber Elves are gone aside from just one that Zero can obtain. This Cyber Elf can upgrade almost everything in all 3 categories. However, if you want to upgrade it, you still have to level it up in all 3 categories at once, so it costs a lot. The other thing too is exceeding its max level, which you still can do, will give you a point reduction for your rank. Which, ranks don't matter in this game anyway, so who cares? In fact, you may be wondering, well, how do you get EX skills in this game? You get them with the new gimmick, Weather. Weather is the new mechanic introduced in Mega Man 04. It's the only thing in this game that has an easy and hard mode variant for stages. So one stage may have exposed spikes in it, but when you go back there with a different weather option, the spikes are covered with snow. This system also gets rid of certain gimmicks in certain stages as well. The way Zero gets EX skills in this game is not by having a good grade, that's just stupid. Instead, Zero has to play on a stage where the weather gives the enemy an advantage. So yeah, just crank up that fucking Cyber Elf and just go on the hard stages, who cares? Chips, as said before, are constructed with new parts, and parts are things you find off of enemies sometimes, so... yeah, if you ever miss the grinding in 01 because you have problems, here you go. Ugh. These new parts can be combined to create new chips in this game, and half of them are completely hidden. You see, you can find recipes from the villagers in Area 0, and some characters give you hints on what to do with them. And that's it. So yeah, half of these chips are just fucking trial and error. Isn't that fucking great? Don't you want to have fucking fun just guessing what the fucking chips are? So get a fucking guide for this garbage. A poor soul or two went through the effort so you don't have to waste your time. So go thank the GameFAQs guide that made your life better. Getting parts themselves are also not a problem except for one, a Moloid. Moloids are enemies that only appear in the Area 0 mission where you have to put out all the fire. These bastards only appear here on a non-revisitable mission. So if you don't have one before leaving, goodbye to your rolling chip. This is the only enemy that it does it for, and I just don't know why. I have no fucking idea why. Overall, a good idea, but it had some extremely shitty execution. Level design this time around is pretty simple. As stated with the weather part, sometimes there's level design changes that make the stage easier or harder. I also really like that when you play with different weather, you can find some alternate paths, which can lead to some really nice goody stuff. Level elements are the strongest point to this level design, with the magnetism level being my favorite, as positive and negative magnets do their job on Zero to see which ones attract or repel you from him. I also enjoy the particle cannon part, but sometimes it's hard to jump on those fucking ledges. Ugh! One I hate, however, is the underwater mission where you're timed, and it's a labyrinth. Like, jeez, this shit is fucking stressful. Ugh! Level design also incorporates Zero's new ability to grab onto shit. Holding up lets Zero grab onto poles, and this is where I find some pretty strong moments, such as Zero needing to shift between hanging on a platform to riding on top of it. Makes you think just a little bit more, and I think that's cool. Bosses this time around are easy baby shit. No, really, the bosses are easy. Even on hard modes with all the weather and all that shit, they're still pretty easy. This ain't me being a hardcore veteran after playing all the other games in the series. This is me saying that these bosses are simple-minded and have easy-to-dodge patterns. Believe me, you will be able to cheese through half of these bosses in the game, such as Nobleman Drago, which digs into the ground and just pops up so you can easily hit her. Not only that, but some mini-bosses are lazy. Well, there's some that are fun, like the ceiling crab here. Shitty ones like the spin shot fuck here are just jump in a circle and hit over and over until they're dead. Exceptions to some bad fights being Kraft, who is pretty unpredictable and fun to fight with because his arsenal is huge. And Dr. Vile, who is great for both phases, and I really like the second phase a lot. He also throws stuff that Zero can pick up with the Zero Knuckle and hit him back with. So overall, the bosses that aren't the 8-Eyed Harry are really good. The ones that are, though, no thank you. Though I do have to admit, it is pretty cool that you can cheese them if you know what you're doing. Graphics this time around are upgraded. While the previous Zero games had somewhat static backgrounds with not much going on, 04 has dynamic and crazy detailed backgrounds, along with giant sprite work. My favorite overall part to this game are the Einariar 8, who are this giant collection of unique and cool looking Mavericks based on mythology. Kraft is also really cool, but you know, I probably have a smidgen of bias on that. I fucking love the Maverick designs in this game, they are so cool! I certainly have to say, when it comes to all the Zero games, this is probably my favorite when it comes to Maverick designs. Though I do have to deduct some points for Neige and the rest of the Scooby-Doo gang because, again, just fucking androgynous 10-year-olds. Though strangely enough, it doesn't seem like it's the same artist working on 04, though it seems he's continuing the work that the previous artist did. What a legacy you gotta live up to, man. Sound this time around is pretty alright. I think it's an overall step down from 2 and 3, with some stinkers like Mino Magnus' stage being repetitive as fuck. But that does not mean there's no hope, not at all. Whereas 0, 2, and 3 had soundtracks I could listen to any song and be hooked, this is more like almost every song. I personally love crafts-related songs, and some others are pretty fire stuff. Sound effects in this game are alright, with some new ones added to the Zero Knuckle that are pretty responsive and all that. Yeah, they don't really change too much after 2. Voice acting, however, did change. This time around, Mavericks say full Japanese taunts at you. Which I don't understand because me no speaky Japanese. So if anyone can tell me if they say something cool, let me know. 03 was a little bit similar in this regard, but it wasn't so much like full sentences, it was more like just a phrase or two. So, that's the entire Zero series. What a ride, huh? 4 games all in a row is a good way for you to see which one's the best and the worst. So let me just lay it down. 03 is without a doubt the best. 03 fixes so many little issues that 2 had and refined what was already there to create an extremely memorable and fun game. 02 is the runner-up, and is a revolutionary 180 from the more experimental stuff 01 attempted to perform, fixing many of what 01 had and made it a much more enjoyable game with way better design. So with 04, that's probably next. A game that introduced new things but didn't refine them, instead creating a somewhat messy experience. However, the base gameplay usually remains the same and is fun because of that. The Zero Knuckle still sucks though. Then we're left with the unrefined game that is 01. It seems like I bully this game big time to the point where it's questionable if I like it or not. No, I still do, but it is unrefined, and I always get annoyed by the flaws when I encounter them. Do I and would you encounter them often? Not really, but when you do, you'll be annoyed. It's sad that 01 is down this far, but what does it mean in terms of playing all these games? It means play them all! Although there's some shitty things in some of these games, 01 to 4 is still a really fun ride. You'll definitely see a gigantic improvement from 1 to 2, and that's so fun to see. And while 4 fucked up with its new ideas, they're still good ideas. However, if you could only play a single game, I would say you'd have to go with 03. However, I will say that I love 02 just a smidgen more. There's no objective reason why I should, but I find the music, environments, and general aesthetic, along with the improvements from the first game, to be super admirable. Nothing's cooler in my book than seeing a sequel fix almost everything wrong with the first game. Also, the chain rod is just that cool, alright? It is undeniably cool. But before I finish this, there is a way to play all of these games for sure from start to finish. The easiest way is with the Mega Man Zero collection on the Nintendo DS. This is a compilation that includes all of the Zero games, along with the mode where you can go through all the games from start to finish without collecting Cyber Elves. Yeah, and let me tell ya, that sure is an easy mode. Oh my god, the game becomes so much easier. While it does get rid of grinding in 01 and 2, it also gets rid of difficulty in the rest of the games. However, it does take advantage of the Nintendo DS's upgraded hardware, allowing the game to perform just a little bit better, and also make the music sound much better. So if you want to check out these games, I'd recommend either that way or with the original Game Boy Advance games, but I recommend that you play and beat all these games, from start to finish. So this is like, what, the third time Zero's died?